You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 201.1, our daily update on high school, college, and professional sports in Central Indiana, with some major national sports news, basically anything that would be of interest to Central Indiana sports fans.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. We thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Today is March 11, 2025. It's a Tuesday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from Madison Grant High School, producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. Coming up, we have NFL and NBA news, lots of men's and women's college basketball. We also have some college signings to announce. Lanaya Williams making the junior all-star team, and lots of other stuff, including Tuesday's schedule highlights. But before we get to all that, it's the time of the show where I beg you to please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. It is easy to find. Also, if you are interested in seeing the Central Indiana Sports Report continue to grow and thrive, please share this podcast with your friends and family. Also, earlier Tuesday, we released our Colts report with Eli Edwards. We went over all of the Colts moves and moves from around the NFL that we thought made a serious impact on the league. And I spoke with Hanson Crafton and got his reaction to UFC 313. He, of course, is our fight guy. It was a big day in the NFL Monday as the free agency period kind of started. This year, the NFL allowed teams to agree to deals with free agents a couple of days before the official free agency period begins. The Colts took advantage of it with four major moves. First, they renegotiated Braden Smith's contract, and he'll return for the 2025 season. Then they signed away a pair of defensive backs from NFC contenders. First, they signed former Vikings safety Cam Bynum. Not long after that, Indy brought in 49ers All-Pro cornerback Charvarius Ward. They also re-signed wide receiver Ashland Doolin to a 2-year deal. Also, longtime Colts center Ryan Kelly has signed with the Minnesota Vikings, so basically a trade, Bynum for Kelly. In other NFL news, the Seahawks have a new quarterback after trading Geno Smith last week. They signed Sam Darnold Monday to a $100 million deal. Former 49ers linebacker Dre Greenlaw landed in Denver. The Patriots signed 5 players, including Pro Bowlers Carlton Davis and Milton Williams. And the Bears acquired 5 players, including a couple of linemen, and Joe Thuney and Drew Salmon, and defensive linemen in Grady Jarrett and Dio Odengbo, a former Colts draft pick. Also, Justin Fields signed with the Jets to be their new starting quarterback, and Laramie Tunsil was traded from the Texans to Washington. Super Bowl champion Philadelphia lost Williams to the Patriots and Josh Sweat to the Cardinals. And the biggest names still available heading into Tuesday are Aaron Rodgers, Joey Bosa, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Nick Chubb, Asante Samuel Jr., Justin Reed, Stephon Diggs, Javon Hargrave, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Mekhi Becton. Conference tournaments are underway all across the country in both men's and women's basketball. And on the men's side, the Horizon League Championship in Indianapolis continued on Monday. Robert Morris beat Oakland in overtime, and Youngstown State beat Cleveland State by 2 points. 2 really close games. The Penguins and Patriots will meet Tuesday for the league championship and an automatic NCAA tournament bid. Drake has already won the Missouri Valley. Lipscomb is in after winning the Atlantic Sun. High Point has punched its ticket by winning the Big South. Southern Illinois Edwardsville won the Ohio Valley. Wofford is the Southern champion. Omaha earned the Summit League bid. And Troy is in the NCAA tournament after winning the Sun Belt. The brackets will be presented Sunday evening on CBS. More championships, more championship games Tuesday. UNC Wilmington and Delaware will play for the Colonial. Central Connecticut and St. Francis, Pennsylvania will determine the Northeast Conference champion. And number 19 St. Mary's will take on Gonzaga for the West Coast title. The Big Ten tournament starts Wednesday with the 10 through 15 seeds playing in the first round. Northwestern will face Minnesota at 3:30. Iowa against Ohio State is next, and then it finishes with USC against Rutgers. The Northwestern Minnesota winner will take on Wisconsin in the second round. The Iowa Ohio State winner gets Illinois, and the USC Rutgers winner faces Purdue in Thursday's final second round game. The first second round game Thursday is 9 seed Indiana against 8 seed Oregon at noon. All of the games are being played at the Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, and Wednesday's games are on the Peacock app. The Indiana Pacers had to be their worst performance of the season Monday in a 121-103 loss to Chicago. Believe me, it was not that close. It was so bad Rick Carlisle pulled all of his starters early in the second half. Indiana shot just 39.6% and were never in the game after the first quarter. The Bulls outscored the Pacers 40-21 in the second period. Kobe White and Josh Giddey scored 29 points apiece for Chicago. Miles Turner's 15 led the Pacers, who host Milwaukee on Tuesday evening. Indiana is now 35-28 after losing 3 games in a row, all against pretty bad teams. They're tied for 6th in the East with Detroit, a game behind the 5th-place Bucks. The Pacers and Bucks play tonight at 7:30 on TNT. And some local high school signing news. Delta pitcher Zane Klein announced Tuesday he'll continue his baseball career at Taylor. Klein was 4-0 with a 1.48 ERA last year for a very good Eagles team. Yorktown's Wilson Webster will continue his football career at Indiana Wesleyan. Webster led the Tigers with 759 rushing yards last season. He also led Yorktown with 4 interceptions and was 3rd on the team with 79 tackles. New Pal's all-time leader in assists, Moses Haynes, has announced that he will continue his basketball career at IU Kokomo. Haynes and the 3rd-ranked Dragons will face number 5 Guerin in Saturday's regional at Greenfield. New Pal's Jackson Camp has announced he'll continue his baseball career at Anderson. LaPel's Lania Wills has been named a junior all-star, according to Rob Hunt of the Herald Bulletin. She was one of 18 players named to the team and will be part of the Blue Group. She and her teammates will play against the Kentucky Junior All-Stars. Wills will enter her senior year with 1,691 points and also has over 1,000 career rebounds with a season to go. Lots of awards for the MAC champion Ball State Cardinals. Allie Becky has been named MAC Player of the Year. Brady Salee, MAC Coach of the Year. Marie Kiefer was MAC Defensive Player of the Year. And Alex Richard has been named MAC Women's Basketball Player of the Week for the final week of the regular season. She had 25 points and 10 rebounds on a senior day win over Ohio. Becky and Kiefer were named first team All-MAC, and Richard made the second team. The Cardinals will face Western Michigan at 11 a.m. Wednesday in the quarterfinal round of the MAC tournament. Ball State won the MAC by 3 games, is the top seed, and the favorite heading to Cleveland. To Tuesday's highlights, it'll be a big softball game in Bloomington as 14-5 Butler goes to 17-5 IU. Butler has won 3 straight. They just swept DePaul. McKenna Alexander from Frankton is batting .368 in 19 starts. She has 23 RBIs and leads the team with 6 home runs. IU has won 5 games in a row heading into the contest, which is scheduled for 5:30. Ball State softball hosts Purdue Fort Wayne. Purdue Fort Wayne is just 4-12, but they're 3-3 in their last 6. Ball State is 13-6 and has won 5 in a row, coming off a Bellarmine Invitational Championship over the weekend. That game is scheduled for 2:00 on Tuesday. Indiana Wesleyan and Spring Arbor play at 3. Indiana Wesleyan is 8-2 and has won 7 of their last 8. Spring Arbor is 8-3 and has won 5 in a row. That should be a good one to kick off league play. And 9-3 Taylor is at 7-2. Mount Vernon Nazarene, two more good teams in the conference. Taylor is 9-3. Mount Vernon Nazarene is 7-2 and has won 7 games in a row. They will play 2 starting at 3 o'clock in the conference opener for both teams. And in college baseball, it'll be Purdue Fort Wayne, which has lost 5 in a row and is 1-13, at Ball State, which is 11-5 and has won 5 in a row. That game is at 3 o'clock. And IU baseball goes to Indiana State. The Hoosiers and Sycamores are both 7-9. That game is scheduled for 4 o'clock. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. Thank you so much for listening. We always appreciate it. Don't forget that the daily report comes out every day at 1 o'clock, at least during the week. Sometimes on weekends, it's a little later. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.